What if the first sign of dementia isn't memory loss? What if it's something like trying to pay with the wrong credit card, or getting lost on the way to your own child's house, or not being able to sit through a TV show without constantly getting up? These little things are easy to brush off until one day you realize they're part of something much bigger. Hi, I'm Rik Henkin. My wife Sonia was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in January 2020 at the age of 65. I've seen too many caregivers suffer physically, emotionally, and mentally, oftentimes more than the loved ones they care for. I was determined not to let this disease take me down, and I found a way to cope. Now, I help other caregivers do the same. Looking back, I now see the early signs were there, but at the time, I didn't recognize them for what they were. That's why I want to share them with you, so that if you're seeing things that feel off but can't quite put your finger on it, maybe this helps bring it into focus. Yes, memory loss is a hallmark symptom, but in early dementia, it doesn't always show up as forgetting people's names or birthdays. It often looks like asking the same question again and again, or forgetting something happened at all, and then being surprised or even irritated when reminded. With Sonia, it wasn't just what she forgot, it was how unaware she was that she'd forgotten it. That was the difference. This was one of the early signs I nearly missed. Sonia used to enjoy sitting down and watching a favorite TV show, but then I noticed something had changed. She couldn't sit still anymore. She'd get up in the middle of the show, not during the commercials, but while the program was still on. Sometimes she'd go into the kitchen, sometimes just wander around the house. And when I'd ask what she was doing, she'd look a little puzzled, like she didn't really know. That short attention span, that inability to sit through something she used to enjoy, that was one of the first quiet signs that something deeper might be going on. Another clue is a shift in mood or personality. You might notice your loved one becoming more anxious, irritable, or withdrawn. In Sonia's case, she got more easily frustrated than usual. Her patience shortened, and there were moments where her reaction didn't really match the situation. At the time, I just thought, well, she's under stress. But it kept happening, and when I looked closer, I realized this wasn't just a rough patch. Something was changing. One day, Sonia was at the grocery store. She reached into her wallet and tried to pay with her Target card, which they obviously didn't accept. She came home crying because she had to leave the groceries at the store. Another time, Sonia had driven to one of our kids' homes. She'd been there many, many times, of course, but one day, she got lost on the way there. She called me from the road. "I don't know where I am," she said, and I could hear the panic in her voice. That wasn't like her, and that was the moment I knew we weren't just dealing with aging. We were dealing with something bigger. Getting disoriented in a familiar neighborhood is never just a small thing. It's a sign the brain is struggling to orient itself, even in places it used to know. Another subtle sign is difficulty with everyday routines, things a person used to do without a second thought. It can be managing the remote, following a recipe, or even putting on clothes in the right order. You might see hesitation, repetition, or confusion mid-task. It's not just forgetfulness, it's a breakdown in the brain's ability to connect steps in the right sequence. You might also notice them struggling with directions or visual processing, missing turns, feeling overwhelmed by traffic, or having trouble judging distances. These changes can make familiar routes suddenly feel confusing or even unsafe. Another quiet shift can show up when they start misplacing things in strange places. It's not just forgetting where the keys are, it's putting the TV remote in the fridge or the laundry detergent in the pantry. When objects show up where they don't belong and the person can't explain how they got there, that's a clue something more serious might be happening. Some people begin losing track of time, not just what day is it, but confusing morning or evening, missing appointments, or getting dressed for dinner at 9 a.m. These disruptions in temporal awareness can start subtly, but eventually disrupt daily life in a big way. And sometimes it shows in how they manage money. Maybe they leave bills unpaid or make strange purchases. Someone who used to be very responsible with finances suddenly lets things slide or becomes confused by statements, dates, or account balances. So how do you know if this is dementia or just aging? One of the hardest parts of recognizing these signs is distinguishing them from normal aging. We all forget things from time to time. We misplace our phones. We draw a blank on a name. That's normal. But with dementia, there's a pattern and a progression. The confusion deepens. The judgment slips more often. The person may not even realize what's happening. Forgetting a name occasionally is normal. Repeating the same question 3 times in an hour and not knowing you asked? That's something else. Losing your keys is one thing. Finding them in the freezer and having no idea how they got there? That's a red flag. We don't want to overreact, but we can't afford to ignore the signs either. Pay attention to the patterns, especially if you're seeing several of them at once. If any of this sounds familiar to you, don't ignore it. These signs don't necessarily mean it's dementia, but they're strong enough to start paying attention. Write things down. When something happens that feels unusual, note the date and what you have observed. If a pattern starts to form, bring it to a doctor's attention. Early detection won't reverse the disease, but it can open the door to treatments, planning, and most importantly, support. Have you seen signs like this in someone you love? What was the moment that made you wonder if something more was going on? Drop a comment below. Your story might help someone else take the next step. If you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or like you're losing yourself in caregiving, you're not alone. That's exactly why I created Caregiver Mastery, a step-by-step roadmap designed to help you manage stress, anger, and burnout so you can care for your loved one without sacrificing yourself in the process. Inside, you'll learn how to say yes to yourself without guilt, reduce overwhelm, and find peace, even during the hardest moments. I call this place Heaven Island, a mindset of calm and clarity where you can care for your loved one without losing yourself. And just so you know, this isn't some giant time-consuming program. I didn't create it to add more to your plate. I created it to lift the weight off your shoulders. The lessons are short and practical. And if you apply what I teach in just minutes a day, I guarantee you'll start to feel a real difference in 2 or 3 weeks. Click the link below or visit caregivermasterycourse.com to get started today. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. I post caregiver support videos every Monday and Thursday. And if this message resonated with you, share it using the hashtag #CaregiverMastery so other caregivers can find the support they need too. You're not alone in this. Let's do this together.